The old folk knew the signs of death before it ever came. A black dog on a lonely road, a washerwoman at the ford, a wail with no mouth to make it. To see one was to know your time was near. These are 9 of Britain's omens of death.
Black Shuck is a giant black dog with eyes of fire that roams the coast of East Anglia, and to see him is to know that someone will die. He is bigger than any hound, silent as the fog, and his eyes burn red in the dark. On the 4th of August 1577, he tore through the doors of Banshee church during a storm. He ran through the praying congregation and killed 2 people where they knelt. The scorch marks from his claws are still burned into the church door to this day. They say if you meet his gaze on a lonely road, you have a year to live at most. Do not speak to him. Do not run. Do not look back. The old folk of Norfolk still listen for his paws on the wet road at night. Somewhere out on the marsh, something is watching the path you walk. Never look into the eyes of a black dog by the sea. Granny Bell told me never to open the window when a woman is weeping in the dark. In the old counties of Ireland, the night before a death is never silent. A pale woman sits on the wall with long grey hair she combs without end. Her eyes are raw red from crying for 1,000 years of the dying. Then she lifts her head, and the sound she makes is not a sound a throat should make. They call her the Banshee, the woman of the fairy mounds, and she keens for the old blood. She wails 3 times for the great families, the Oz and the Macs of the land. Whoever hears her knows that before morning, one of their own will be cold. The old folk shut their windows tight and would not look upon her grief. Weep with the window open tonight, and listen for a voice answering in the dark. Granny Bell told me never to follow a black dog down the lanes at night. In the old winds of York and the moors above Leeds, the dark keeps its own hounds. It comes huge as a calf, shaggy and black, with eyes like 2 burning coals. You hear no paws, only a dragging clank of chains where its feet should fall. Follow it, and it leads you nowhere good, growing larger as the lane narrows. This is the Barghest, the death hound of Yorkshire, and it does not come for nothing. They say when a great soul died, the dog ran ahead of the funeral through the streets. See it cross your path, and a death is already counted in your house. The old folk barred their doors and would not name it after dark, and that is why. Walk a Yorkshire lane tonight, and listen for the chains behind a black dog. Granny Bell told me that if you meet a woman washing by the water, do not speak first. At a lonely ford in the Highlands, you may find a small woman kneeling there. She is washing linen in the stream, beating it pale against the cold stones. Come closer, and you see the cloth is a shroud, and the water runs red. This is the bean Nighe, the washer at the ford, and she launders for the dead. The clothes in her hands belong to those who will not live out the week. If the shroud she scrubs is your own, she has come to wash you away. But creep up unseen and seize her, the old folk said, and she must answer. She will name who is to die, and grant 3 wishes to the bold. So if you meet a woman washing by the water, do not let her speak first. Granny Bell told me never to trust a lantern light glowing on a lonely road. On the lanes of Lancashire and the lonesome ways of Yorkshire, the dark plays tricks. A great shaggy beast appears, sometimes a horse, sometimes a dog, sometimes a mule. Its eyes glow like cart lamps, and a chain rattles softly where it pads beside you. It walks ahead as if to guide you, then leads you off the path entirely. This is the Gytrash, the road haunter, and it loves a traveller out alone. Whole nights were lost to it, men found at dawn miles from where they meant to be. Some say it means no harm, but you cannot tell guide from doom by lamplight. The old folk kept to the known road and never followed a stray light, and that is why. Walk a country lane tonight and watch for a lantern glow that should not be there. Granny Bell told me never to kneel alone in the little chapel at Glamis Castle. In that grey Scottish keep, the air goes thin and the candles will not hold. A woman in pale grey kneels in the family pew, with her head bowed low. The seat is roped off so the living cannot sit, yet she is always there. Light passes through her, and the sunbeam she kneels in carries no warmth at all. This is the Grey Lady, Janet Douglas, burned at the stake on a false charge of witchcraft. They took her from this castle and lit the fire while her young son watched. Now she comes home to pray in the one place that was ever hers. The earls have seen her for 400 years and still cannot send her away. Kneel alone in an old chapel and feel the candles fail beside you. Granny Bell told me never to walk the dark road when something soft pads behind you. In the villages of West Yorkshire, near Leeds, the night keeps a quiet companion. It comes the size of a small donkey, shaggy and black, with great, round, shining eyes. You hear it before you see it, a soft padding of feet keeping pace at your heel. Turn and it may roll before you wrapped in a long, rattling chain, then vanish. This is the Padfoot, the death hound of the dales, and it walks with the doomed. They say it follows a man for nights before a death comes to his door. To strike at it or speak to it only binds it tighter to your path. The old folk walked straight on and never looked back at the padding, and that is why. Walk a Yorkshire road tonight and listen for soft feet padding close behind you. Granny Bell told me never to laugh at the laughing I heard down the dark lane at night. In the old wooded lanes of Somerset, the hedges close in tight and the road runs black. Something comes sliding down the hill toward you, low along the rutted track. It carries its own head tucked beneath one arm, and the head is grinning wide. It slides faster and faster on the slick mud, laughing a thin and dreadful laugh. They call it the Galley Beggar, the headless one who haunts the lanes after dark. Then the laughing breaks into a long scream that no living throat could ever hold. Those who saw it sliding toward them ran until their hearts near gave out. The old folk would not walk the wooded lane alone once the sun had gone down. Laugh back at the laughing tonight, and watch what comes sliding down the lane. Granny Bell told me the prettiest stretch of that coast was cursed by a girl. A young fisherman of Padstow saw a woman singing on the rocks at dusk. He raised his gun, some say by accident, some say because she refused him. The shot struck her, and as she sank she lifted one hand from the water. With her dying breath, the mermaid cursed the whole mouth of the harbour. That night a storm threw up a long bar of sand across the channel. This is the Doom Bar, and the ships that strike it have drowned hundreds. Stand on the dunes at Padstow, and you can still see the wrecks at low tide. They say the sand shifts itself to catch a boat that grows too proud. The prettiest stretch of that coast is still cursed by a girl with a gun. 9 ways the old world warned you that death was coming. A new British folk tale every single day. Subscribe to 3-Part Tales.